what happened in the south of Sudan is what's being done in Darfur. They didn't call them Janjaweed, they called them militias in the south, but it was the same thing. You go in and you bomb a village. I'm thinking of one village where they, in a single day, they killed 3,000 out of 10,000 residents. And there's now a Chinese oil well pumping oil in that village, or the former village.
You got people over here too.
Yeah, so it's I don't know how many of you feel about the fact that the writs were issued by the prosecutor, but it's the head of the International Criminal Court's a Canadian. He thinks that they deal in justice, and we should be dealing in justice. Now, you may say, well, more people are going to die, but it's actually the figure is 400,000, not 300,000. And how many of you have read the book called Tears of the Desert by Dr. Bashir? Same name as the president, but she's a doctor who wrote this dreadful book of, and one of the things she explains in the book is MacGuffin said, is that they came and raped 42 girls in her village, including a teacher. One of the girls was as young as 8. And this Dr. Bashir couldn't take it anymore, and she spoke out about it. And what happened to her after that is just about beyond belief. But she survived it, and she lives in London now. And all of us sit around in Canada. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to say this. And we all say, that's not right. We must do something about that.
Yes.
But sooner or later, people like you, all of us, we have to make up our minds to do something. And if we were to say that Bashir will not be allowed to go in and bomb any more villages, if he does, the plane will be shot down, he wouldn't do it. But nobody will do it so far, and the United States won't do it. I hope President Obama has made the right noises, that he will do something about a no-fly zone. But Bush wouldn't do a thing about it because Bush had some kind of an arrangement with the government of Sudan. He thought they were helping him with terrorist activities. I mean, good, give me a break. But hopefully Obama will do something, and I think I'm sure all of you can.
David said, when we put on the conference in Darfur, when the Institute put on the conference in Darfur, and David was a keynote speaker, and we had speakers from as far away as Geneva, and people like General Mackenzie there, and the head of the SCLC came here for the first time. One thing that was made clear there was that this question of the International Criminal Court is going to bring up a very critical moral issue right now. The one difference between Darfur and the fight with the South in Sudan has to do with who the parties are, not the process. Yes, the process was the same, militias and bombings, but it was the Christian South that was being attacked by the Arab Muslim North. There was a treaty signed, and of course the leader of the Christian South mysteriously got killed 7 days after signing the treaty in a very mysterious helicopter crash. Darfur, on the other hand, has no militia representing the indigenous people. These people are being killed because they are Muslims like the Muslim North, but they're blacks. And the slaughter is...
They can seem to be deemed to be African.
Exactly. And the slaughter is on a scale far greater. And one point that was made at the conference that we put on by Paya Makavan, who was actually the senior advisor to Luis Moreno Campo until 2 years ago, and he's now an international law professor, and General Lewis Mackenzie... At McGill. And General Lewis Mackenzie was this. This is all well and good to have an ICC. Very nice, world federalist thought. But how much can be left to bureaucracy while people die? And when is there a moral obligation to act and send in troops? And one of Mackenzie's criticisms of the international community was the United Nations had suggested a certain number of UN peacekeeping troops, and he said, do the math. This is an area twice as big as Texas. Yeah. That's one soldier for every 53 kilometers. People are going to continue to die. Europe, Canada, America, he said, must simply send in troops. It's enough. You declare war on a moral imperative.
Stop this nonsense.
Well, that's the problem. The United States can't do anything. The European countries can do something, and in fact, some of us have made a proposal that we're trying to get them to consider that would do a number of things, including setting up a commission that would give some money to look at these issues. It would go in and try and identify leaders in Darfur and say, you people are going to be protected, and we're going to have some autonomy, not a separate country, but some autonomy, and we're going to stop the no-fly zones and things like this, and we're going to stop it. It's been going on, ladies and gentlemen, since April of 2003. It's the longest-running genocide in human history. And everybody wrings their hands and and does nothing. And
Well, you're one of the people who's not doing nothing. You've been doing an awful lot.
not enough.
But how do we? Well, what can be done?
Well, maybe talk to your MPs or talk to. Why don't you? No, Beryl. By the way, I should have said this earlier. Beryl's been fabulous on the issue. Why don't you all support Beryl even more strongly than you are now? Don't cut him off when he's just in the middle of a sentence.
Lucy,
Well, that's a tradition. We don't take it.
Lucy, you have been in a position of power. You've run the Canadian government. You know how to influence them. You seduce them with your charm or you whatever, but you win.
There you go.
Who would you attack and who would you get on board?
I think that it's true that the parliamentarian has to go public with that issue, and even if it's question period or press, it's true that the parliamentarian has to become public about it. They have to ask questions, but also maybe to have press conference. We have a Senator Dallaire who was in Darfur also, and but I agree that. The opposition and also the government, we have to become public about it and pressure the government to act on it and do something. At least that will attract the attention of the media to begin with, and that could put more pressure. And I think it would be very interesting that you have 2 or 3 people from the House or maybe in the Senate to just go and carry with that dossier. I think it's very important. And if we attack the media, I mean, if we become public, the media will be there. And that will put more pressure on the government to act and to do something. And I think that that would be a good way, and that could be quite interesting.
If anyone has, thank you. If anyone